and Mike Maher on the effective trumpets. Welcome to day 2 of our first international edition of the Ground Up Music Festival. I guess international for us, very national if you're from Italy. It's really such a joy to be in this incredibly beautiful setting, surrounded by just everything's beautiful. The food, the weather, the weather between starting now, it's beautiful. And it's just incredible to be surrounded by so many great musicians making music throughout the town these days. Today was, I don't know if I know many of you, I see many faces that were over at Trullo Sovrano. It was incredible hearing Becca and Fuensenta today. For those of you who were there, heavy, today was heavy. And tonight, I mean, the artists that we have the honor of warming up the stage for tonight are, you know, it's not often that I saw Jake and Abe who are playing tomorrow at Trullo Sovrano, and I was trying to explain to them the next artists that are coming on this stage tonight. It's not often that you say like, oh yeah, it's like the greatest blah 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 ever and the greatest blah 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 in the world. It's like so incredible to have Aseko Kuyate and Israel Fernandez here with their bands on Misako. It's really, you're in for a real treat tonight, and kind of taking a bit of a world tour from the US to Mali to Andalusia. And we're really happy and proud and honored to be a part of it, to stand on the same stage as them. We're playing tunes from different records. We have a new record coming out in November called Somni, that we made with the Metropole Orchestra. And we're not playing a single one of those songs tonight for you, so I shouldn't have even mentioned it. But we will soon. Starting on November 22nd, we'll be playing those songs. So this festival being our only gigs in Europe this whole year. Isn't that weird?
Yes.
These 3 nights are the only concerts we're playing in Europe in 2025, which is kind of crazy because we're always here. So this year of concerts in Europe is about just playing all these songs from all of our records and seeing what happens. This next one was written by the Man in White, or is it Cream? What is it? I can't tell in the lights. He doesn't know either. Eggshell. Mason said Eggshell. The Man in Eggshell, Bobby Sparks over there. This is a song. There you go. Love it. You got your fan club over there, Eggshell. This is a song that Snarky Puppy was a big fan of before we met Bobby. When he was living in Dallas and we were living in Denton, we used to bump this song on MySpace. It was on his MySpace page. We look young, but we're in our 80s. And it was like our soundtrack to our early tours. This one is called Take It. Benson Ross on the drum set. Jay Jennings on the trumpet. Zach Brock on the violin. So we're starting a little tradition here in Alberobello that there's so much incredible talent in this country that we're, as you saw last night with Cancionere Grecanico Salentino, trying to bring in a bunch of the tradition, but also we're trying to collaborate with musicians who are playing more of the kind of stuff that we're playing. Last night we had the incredible Federico Malaman from the north. He's hanging out here tonight. And I want to introduce you to an incredible keyboard player that sat in with us in Perugia at Umbria Jazz last year, I think it was, to join us for a couple tunes. Actually, one song that we very rarely play from a very old record called "Tell Your Friends." So we'll see if the band even remembers it. But first, I want to introduce you to the incredible Francesca Tandoi. We need 12 seconds for a rehearsal, real quick, sorry. Rehearsal's over. It's the most we've rehearsed in years, actually. Okay.
What could go wrong?
You count it off, Bill.